embrace what's approaching. The supreme moment, reality striking closer than it seems, don't it? Go ahead, it's for the taking if you want it. If not, the dream dies and you'll be forever haunted. Then confront it.
What's good? To add to the upcoming hype for the 300 million download celebration period, now that we know that the LR Super Saiyan Gohan and LR Cell units are coming out, might as well test out a Super Saiyan 2 team and see how this whole setup is. Again, this honestly, ideally, you would have like a Super Saiyan 2 unit like the transforming Vegeta, who's also got the ability to transform into Super Saiyan 2 as part of the setup. But in order to get LR Gohan on here, because it is really about the hype for the upcoming brand new Gohan unit, how to find a fix for that. So that is why you're seeing the LR Gohan and Goten Lees, even though they're technically Super Saiyan units, to allow for the proper team building. It kind of required that setup to get the maximum boost and whatnot. So that's pretty much why you're seeing them on there. Now, in terms of the other units, let's go ahead and cover one by one. So, of course, you have, LR Gohan and Goten, but we're going to skip that. You know how these guys are. They're very good, and they have the ability to attack multiple times, blah, blah, blah. But they're not a Super Saiyan unit, so let's go ahead and skip that. Now, the first one I want to cover is the Strength unit, Super Saiyan 2 Angel Goku unit. Of course, you can get this guy from the Baba Shop by exchanging the medals for it. Again, pretty good unit overall. It's a free-to-play option. Greatly raises defense for one turn from the super attack and also causes supreme damage. The passive skill is pretty interesting to say the least. You do get the attack and defense increase of 40% for 4 turns from the start of the turn. It also defense increase of 30% with each attack performed, maximum of 120%. It also attack increase of 30% with each attack received, up to a maximum of 180%. So basically you need to get attacked 6 times and then you need to attack 4 times to get the maximum boost. The only problem with this guy, I feel like, is the 4 turns from the start of turn is very restricted. You could easily go beyond 4 turns and you're going to quickly lose out on the 40% from the attack and defense boost. But I guess it kind of makes up, since you do get the 120% max to defense and 180% max toward attack. So I guess it all works out. It's a pretty good unit overall, very solid. It is a Super Saiyan 2 unit. Of course, you had to include the LR Super Saiyan 2 Gohan unit because it's going to be interesting how this guy plays out with the upcoming new one coming out. Now, because the new one is going to be transforming based on the Acta skill, the name is likely going to be LR Super Saiyan Gohan, which means should be able to run these two together. And this LR Gohan could potentially be a very good linking buddy for that unit. So we'll see how that plays out. But of course, regardless of how old this guy is, he does have a nuking passive where based on the amount of ki collected, the attack will increase by 18%. You also get a ki raise too, so it's going to be pretty nice seeing how this overall plays out. Again, playing alongside the brand new upcoming LR Super Saiyan Gohan unit, so we'll see how that plays out. Of course, you've got the Super Saiyan 2 Bardock unit, pretty good support unit still to this day. Excuse me. Attack increase of 30% for all allies when HP is 30% or above, so it's certainly very helpful. It also does fall into the criteria of being a Super Saiyan 2 unit. Hits pretty decent, but again, not the best of units, but still a decent support unit overall. Again, we covered the Super Saiyan Vegeta unit briefly, how ideally it would have been this as a leader, but this guy, is still pretty solid. You've got the nuking passive where attack will increase by a certain percentage based on the transformation state. You also get, attack and defense increase starting out at 80%, increases to 90, 100, and 110, and then finally at 120%. So very nice unit overall, still a very, very good character. So that's pretty much how the team is set up overall, and it's an interesting team to say the least, and we'll see, how the brand new LR Super Saiyan Gohan comes about, because the biggest question, without a doubt, is what the leader skill will be. Now, I ran kind of a questionnaire earlier this morning, and a lot of you guys have provided a lot of good feedback on it. I'll probably compile that in a video and just, share everybody's guesses or whatever. But yeah, we'll really see. I mean, it can range from hybrid Saiyans, or if they'll actually come out with a Super Saiyan 2 category lead for this guy. The Super Saiyan 2 category setup is pretty. I mean, it's got a decent amount of units on there. It's a little bit restricted, I would say, but still okay, I guess. So, we'll have to see how that plays out. But I don't know if they're gonna go about it that way, or they're gonna go a little bit more broad, like of course, like hybrid Saiyans or whatever. A lot of people are wanting that, honestly, but it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. Speaking of Super Saiyan 2, potential categories, I mean, you do have a pretty decent amount of units. I will say a lot of these units are some of the older units, though, so you do have to keep that in mind, but still, you do have, like, the Agility, Caulifla, obviously, LR, Caulifla, and Kel's on it. Again, Super Saiyan 2 Bardock, the LR Gohan unit, the Super Strength Super Saiyan 2 Gohan unit, that's going to get an Extreme Z Awakening as well. You got a couple of other variations of Gohan on here as well. The good thing is Great Saiyaman is obviously has its own name, so different from Gohan, so you could also utilize that on a team as a support or a decent hitting unit. You got a couple of variations of like the GT Goku units as well. A couple of versions of Vegeta and so on, like Vegeta and Bulma. Hopefully they do fall into that category of Super Saiyan 2 because Vegeta is a Super Saiyan 2 unit, but we'll see how that plays out if Bandai decides to shaft Vegeta again or not. But a couple of other units like the Majin Vegeta technically does fall into Super Saiyan 2 as well, but we'll see how all that plays out. But I mean, if you look at it from a broad scheme, yeah, there could definitely be some good team building on that. And if it's a dual category lead for Gohan, then obviously if it's like hybrid Saiyans or something like that, it's going to diversify team building a lot more and increase the options quite a bit. So it's certainly feasible, but we'll see. And I've got to go back to the YouTube comments and Twitter thread on everyone's comments and see how see pretty much what everybody commented on and kind of see from there. I haven't actually had a good chance to take a detailed look at everyone's comments, so I'll definitely plan on doing that later and probably compile that in a video, like I said. Again, the Goku unit's pretty good because the more frequently he gets hit or attacks, or both, the better he becomes. So you can actually see the attack stats on this team setup to get to about 1.5, 1.6 million, depending on the types of rotation he's on and how many attacks he performed and received. So it's definitely a pretty big variable on the later in the battles, the better it becomes. The only drawback again is the 40% from attack and defense. You pretty much lose that as the battle drags out because it is a 4-turn restriction. So that's only again double-edged sword with that. I mean, LR Gohan is obviously still pretty good, very good actually, depending on the amount of ki it collects, obviously, but still a very solid unit. You definitely do need a lot of available ki on the field or a good supporting unit that provides a ki boost. If you're running this guy with the LR Gohan and Goten unit, that's pretty much the main restriction with that. It's a great linking setup except for the key part. I think what hurts LR Gohan and Goten is the fact that they do not have prepare for battle. If they did, I think it would have made things a little bit easier, but the fact they don't, it definitely hurts a little bit. But I mean, this team works out pretty well, so we'll see how the brand new LR Super Saiyan Gohan pretty much fits into this category setup. If it is a Super Saiyan 2 category team setup, it'll be interesting to see how that goes. And then if on top of that it ends up being a hybrid Saiyan secondary category lead, that'd be even better because you could actually run some good supports on that too. And obviously you can pick different types of units to include on this setup. Again, I went through the list of available units that you could potentially run, but again, because of the leader skill, it is the siblings bond and Goku's family setup. It is a little bit restricted. You can't include all of the Super Saiyan 2s that fall into the potential category setup, but if the new Gohan does have the Super Saiyan 2 category lead, then it does mix up the team building options a little bit. But again, yeah, this is pretty much the setup for the potential Super Saiyan 2 category team if it actually comes out. We'll see. Depending on where we are in the countdown, the remaining days. It depends on how soon the data miners or leakers are able to get the information out. We'll find out more about the potential categories and stats, leader skills, and passive skills, and all that good stuff. So once the week goes on, the more information we'll find out. So hopefully it'll be a good time and a lot of good news. But anyways, this is the showcase for the team built of Super Saiyan 2 type units. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. As always, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you guys later.